It was just a very confusing movie. I literally watched the whole entire movie like this. What? 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 What's up, you guys, and welcome back to So by GiGi 101. Today, I'm giving you a recap review, whatever, of the movie Avalanche Shark. And yes, it is as bad as it sounds. Okay. So, the movie is about these, sharks that kind of just, appear out of thin air on a mountain. And when you watch it, you really don't know what the plot is or why or how. Okay, so the movie starts off with these two teenage boys skiing down a mountain or whatever, and there's, a gated off area that they're not supposed to ski down, and of course they do it anyway. And then there's this guy that's way far from them that's shooting off something, and it's blowing up into the mountain. And then all of a sudden these sharks, they okay, if you've ever seen The Secret World of Alex Mack, you know how, she turns into the liquidous, metallic liquid, and then all of her molecules just come together and make her a human again? That's exactly how these sharks formed, but, instead of it being, metallic goop, it's, just this really pretty, majestic light, and they form, and they come together, and you're left just what? What? And then the screen, cuts from them getting eaten by these molecule-created sharks to this, girl, and I guess her sister. This girl and, her sister, and, this guy comes to pick them up, and she's all give me 5 minutes, and he's we're on a schedule, and she's okay, well, now you can give me 10. Excuse me. And she's half naked, like every good horror movie, right? Right, of course. Whatever. And her sister's just whatever, let's just go on the ride. And then she's fine, whatever. And she's are you going to put on clothes? Because all she had on was a bikini top and uber short shorts, which also confused me because you're going to a ski lounge. You're going up to a mountain. Why are you in a bikini? And come to find out that it's actually spring break. I've never, ever heard of anyone going skiing on a mountain for spring break. Maybe it's just me, but okay. So then that cuts to this girl lying in bed calling for her marine boyfriend, and then they're okay, well, what does a 28-year-old know when they have a 26-year-old boyfriend, or some kind of shenanigans? And then that cuts back to the two girls and the guy that's giving them the ride. They're in the car. And she's she wakes up and she's where are we? And he's we're almost there. You slept through the ride. And on his schedule, they only had one schedule stop. So she wakes up and she's I have to go to the bathroom. He's oh, well, you missed our schedule stop. And she's being really mean and snarky to him or whatever. And then he goes, fine, I'll make one unscheduled stop if you hear my story. And they're your story? And he's yeah, I have this story that hopefully will get girls in bed with me. And the girl in the bikini was just or you could just pull over and I can go and I don't have to kick your behind, for lack of better words. And her sister, or whoever she was to her, who was sitting in the front seat, was we'll love to hear your story. So then he starts getting into the story of this myth of the smoochy, something like that. And this is what blows my mind. In the middle of the story, the scene fades off and it goes to these random skiers. And now we're left well, what happened to the rest of the story? So now I'm thinking, okay, maybe it goes into like that part. Like, I was trying to help the movie out because you know your girl. I was trying to see like the best of a situation. So I'm thinking, okay, maybe it's like it's fading into this story in real life where we're actually like going into the story and going through the story as he's telling it. But like, yeah, no. So now we're in this ski mountain and we're back with the Marine and the girl, and we're introduced to an array of new characters, one including like the people who own the ski lounge, and that's where you find out that like it's spring break and that they're supposed to be like, I guess, teenagers, but literally everybody in this movie looked like they were 40 plus, 30 bare minimum. There's one girl, I think she might be Russian. Nobody knows what she's saying. She's speaking really fast, and like as an audience viewer, I have no clue what she's talking about. And it's just really throwing me off because all the characters look super old, but they're supposed to be acting like these young kids, like on Girls Gone Wild Spring Break. You know what I'm talking about? Like, they're supposed to be acting like that. It completely throws you for a loop. And then at some part of the movie, because, you know, there's like a crazy old man who keeps screaming, "Oh my God, the smooker is back," or whatever his name is. And no one believes him. The people who own the ski lodge are trying to get their money in from these tourists, and he's messing that up. Excuse me. They call in a sheriff. The sheriff is like, okay, I'll look into it. And then all these people start going missing, and then someone witnesses, aside from the crazy man, witnesses like the shark. And basically it was like Elsa created the snow sharks because they were sharks that swum through snow. And the sheriff's wife, okay, is a marine biologist, and I'm just trying to figure out, why is there a marine biologist on a mountain? And this was before we even knew that there were sharks. Well, before they knew that there were sharks. Why was there a marine biologist on a mountain? If someone knows, please let me know, because I just don't understand. So then it comes out that she actually knew about these sharks or whatever, and what happened was that they hadn't been seen for 25 years, and that they actually snatched her parents 25 years ago. I think she might have been 5. She drew a picture of it all, and, you know, now the cop is like, okay, let's go out and investigate all these, like, myths or whatever that you think is happening. He sees the molecule-created sharks in the snow, and so now he's like, okay, we gotta go. Like, we need to close the mountain and everything. And then this is the part where it starts to kind of act like Jaws. And I'm sorry that this review seems so all over the place, but literally because this movie is all over the place. Like, there's no organization. I don't know who wrote this movie. I don't know who directed it. I don't know who produced it. But I mean, they probably should have like YouTubed how to make a movie, because the storyline, the plot was all over the place. There was a story here, 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 a story here. There was just so much going on in this movie. But okay, so the sheriff finally sees it and he's ready to close down the mountain, and then it turns into like Jaws, because now the mayor comes in and he's all like, this mountain this time of year makes us money, we cannot close this down. And he's all like, but like 5 people are missing, and I definitely saw something out there. And he's all like, oh yeah, a shark that can like swim in snow. Yeah. And honestly, I think the same exact thing. And then what ends up happening is that one of the owners, like, they get tired of his shenanigans, and he almost shoots like a snowplower guy because they think that it's the shark or whatever. And the mayor is just like, you know what? He's got to go. He's going to ruin us. We're not going to get any money, and we're going to be screwed. And he's got to go. So he fires him. Okay. And then he makes the owner, one of the owners of the ski lodge or whatever, the new sheriff. And no one is believing that there's these sharks. Meanwhile, people are just getting eaten by these Elsa frozen sharks left and right. And it's just like, finally he sees what's going on. And mind you, there's like 20 minutes left in the movie. And this is when the movie finally becomes clear and concise. Because up until this point, much like this review, it was all over the place. So basically what ends up happening is that the guy finally is like, he's on the gondola, like the ski lift gondola, going up, and he's trying to like, he's trying to just like scare this girl into sleeping with him. And he's telling his story again that he started off in the car. So we're still wondering, because we never went back to the car ride. And I never saw that girl who gave him an attitude in the back of the car ever again. So I don't really know what happened. But like, he finally explains that like, well, actually, the sheriff's wife really explains what happened, but like he kind of re-explains it, and it all ties in together to sum up the last 20 minutes of the movie, which explains the whole entire movie, which is almost like that movie Whiteout, I think it was called, or White something. It was some Tom Cruise movie that just, you had to wait till the last 20 minutes of the movie to understand what the heck was happening. But that's what happened. So basically, in the last 20 minutes, what we find out is that the mountain was owned by Indians, and they came in and they killed the Indians, and the Indians like they had like these Indian friends or whatever that cast this curse, and this curse brought these sharks that swam up the river or whatever. And then once the snow came and glaciers and like the ice age with, you know, Sid and Manny and all of them, the sharks came and they became adapted to like the snow, and now they're like snow sharks. Like from, like if Frozen was a horror movie with sharks, this would be Frozen. And so then there's like one of the main characters, the Marine guy, because he was looking for his brother, who was one of the two guys who got killed in the very beginning of the movie. Again, all coming together. He just out of nowhere became a complete and utter jerk, for lack of a better word. Like, he just became a complete and utter jerk. And when I thought he had gotten eaten, I was so happy, because it was like, you're a jerk. And he finally asked the marine biologist that's on that mountain, well, how did they get rid of it 25 years ago? And apparently they called somebody and they took away the curse. And he's like, so there was no guns, there was no weapons? And she was like, I was little, I don't remember. All I remember was that they called someone and they lifted the curse. And he's still bugging out about there's no weapons. And she's just looking at him. And I'm like, what part of I was little and they called someone to cast away a curse that you do not understand? Because I'm pretty sure I said it in clear English. So all throughout the movie, there's this random Asian lady who doesn't speak any English, and everyone tries to talk to her, but she can't speak English. And she was just sporadically in different scenes throughout the movie, but just, I kept saying there's something important about this woman, because why is she in these random scenes? Like, she really has no role. She barely has any lines. Like, what is going on? So at the very, very end, like the last 5 minutes of the movie, the shark is just attacking everybody. Okay, the sheriff got killed. The new sheriff, Dale, the one who owns the place that the mayor made, he was now attacked and he was being used as bait. The crazy man, they ate up all his sled running dogs or whatever, and now he was getting eaten up, and everybody's trying to shoot them or whatever. And then you see this little Asian lady, and she is like legit just like pushing these things that look like the pillars on a ship, on a pirate ship, not just any ship, a pirate ship. She's pushing them up, and every time she pushes them up and positions them the right way, these molecular alienistic sharks just disappear. And at one point, like, the guy was in the shark's mouth and she pushed it up and fixed it, and all of a sudden he disappeared. Like, not he, but the shark disappeared. That movie was just really, really, really confusing. And by the time you actually started to understand the plot and what was going on and getting into it, it was over. It was not a good movie by any stretch of the imagination. I do believe it got 1 star on Netflix, which was well deserved. You deserved 1 star. But that was just a very, And at one point, my best friend Natalia, she shut the movie off, and I was like, oh, no. As horrible as this movie is, I want to finish it through and through so that way I can come on here and give my peeps a review, because no entienda. I don't understand what I watched. So if you watched the movie, let me know in the comments down below. Let's start a discussion. Maybe you can recommend more movies for me to review, because, girl, boy, I don't understand what I watched. Amen. Well, that's my review. Thank you so much for watching and for always supporting. If you would like to come on adventures with us and come swimming with the GiGi Meister Merpod, don't forget to rate, comment, subscribe, and share because sharing is caring. I'll be seeing you in my next review, recap, or whatever. And I love you all. Loves and likes ya. Bye.